What's up, guys? I'm Chris, and today you're watching a magic review on Lucky Ladybug by Joshua Ray and Deuce Gala. Welcome to the channel, and thanks for tuning in. If you haven't, please subscribe, and don't forget to join the Chris Edwards Magic Secret Access group over on Facebook.
Will you help? Yeah, you will. You want to hand your bottle to her, and then that way, just hold out because we'll need a hand. You have a hand free? Which hand would you like to use? Come on over here. I won't bite, I promise. Can you all see okay?
Yeah.
Because I want you to see too.
Okay.
Oh, it looks like you made a little jumping man. I love that trick. Okay. Hey, do you have a garden, by the way? Any of you?
Somewhat.
Somewhat, yeah.
Kind of.
Cool. I have a garden, and the other day I was out walking and I have these 3 logs, and I don't know about you, but I get curious, so I turned over a log and there was a ladybug, right? That's pretty crazy. Go and hold that right there. I turned over a second log and there was a ladybug. Guess what was under the 3rd log? That's a pretty good guess, because you're right. Now, I don't know if you know this, but ladybugs, they don't stick around very long, right? This one flew away.
Where'd it go?
Now, some people think it's lucky to spot a ladybug. Others consider it more lucky if a ladybug comes back. Just wave your hand slowly over the cards and let's see how lucky you are.
That's awesome.
Well, it came back to you, so that must be your lucky ladybug.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Amazing.
Thank you. Oh, that's for you.
Alright, so today we're looking at Lucky Ladybug by Joshua Ray and Deuce Gala. So what is Lucky Ladybug? Well, we're going to compare it to something that a lot of you are probably familiar with because a lot of you probably perform it, and that's the web. Now, this has its similarities, but I believe that this is much more impactful, both on an emotional level as well as a magical level, and we'll get to that in just a second here. So as you've seen in the trailer, Joshua Ray performs this in talking about his garden. He sees 3 logs, and as he turns them over, you see a ladybug under each log. That gets placed on the spectator's hand. You talk a bit about how it's lucky to see a ladybug. It's even more lucky if they come back, and when the participant waves their hand over the log to which the ladybug has disappeared, they see that there's a ladybug on the back of their hand. So just to make a note, this is quite a bit different than the web, and the only reason that I'm making reference to it is because I know that a lot of people do perform the web and enjoy performing it for a number of reasons. Now, the main aspect that makes this different from the web for me is that whenever I've performed the web, it's gotten great reactions, right? But the reactions are more based on shock and fright or fear than they are based on the magic. So after I perform that, even though it's gotten great reactions, I've found that what people are left with is a prank or a joke. You know, the magic was good, but they don't remember the magic. They just remember that somebody got scared and everybody laughed. So in the end, I think people just remember it as a joke, as a gag, and forget the magical element. Whereas with this, it's something a little bit more meaningful, and it brings joy rather than fear or shock. And in the end, people are left feeling good and remembering a magical experience. So for me, when Buck came to me and said that they were coming out with a new effect, kind of explained a bit about what it was, I was immediately interested because I like connecting with my participants, right? I would much rather connect with them than scare them and leave them feeling like the butt of a prank. So this is great. Now, on top of that, if you want to go further in your presentation, you could make this a lot more meaningful. You know, you could bring in more emotional aspects, and the fact that this is called Lucky Ladybug, this little ladybug here represents luck, right? So you leaving this with the spectator, this could turn out to be something they carry with them all the time as like a good luck charm, you know, and it's always going to bring them back to that experience they had and that moment where they felt that joy and experienced that magical moment. So let's cover some of the usual questions. So what do you get? You're going to get, this is the packaging, okay, and then you're going to get 3 cards. They're plastic, so they're not going to wear out. They're very well made. We'll just touch on the quality here too. So you have the plastic cards, nice images, and then you are going to get a minimum of 20 hand-painted wooden ladybugs. Now the reason I say minimum is because there are different packages that you can get this as. So the regular set comes with 3 cards and 20 ladybugs, and that goes for $20. You can get the worker set, which gives you an additional 50 ladybugs, so you're getting the 3 cards plus 70 ladybugs in total for $24. So right now, rather than at the end of the review, I'm just going to say go for the 70 ladybugs, because it's only $4 more. And if you're anything like me, you're going to be performing this a lot. And it's always nice if you leave your spectator with the ladybug rather than taking it back. On top of that, there are refills available that are also very cheap. So you can get an additional 50 just on their own. You know, once you run out or you're getting close to running out, you can order just the ladybugs without the cards. You'll get 50 for $5. I personally would start off with the worker set and maybe even include an extra 50 because it's not going to cost you much more. You'll be paying under $30 and you'll have, 120 ladybugs. So I'd say that's a good start. So what's the quality? Well, I've kind of already touched on that. The cards are PVC plastic, so they can get wet, they can be outside, they're not going to warp, they're not going to tear. And then the ladybugs are also very good. Now, I did read that they were hand painted and they are made out of wood. So again, they look really good. I'll just give you another close up here. So yeah, as far as quality goes, you know, I don't think that they could be better. They are perfect. Tutorial. So if you have anything else by Deuce Gala, anything that they've put out, they go above and beyond when it comes to the tutorials, and that is something that I've always really, really liked. So you're going to get a performance video, then you're going to get the main tutorial. Joshua Ray teaches that himself, and he goes over everything, all the fine details, all the handling, the presentation, the script, right? And if you want to change it to more suit your style, or if you have a different message that you want to send, or, you know, something along those lines, then that's easy to do too. And on top of that, you also get additional performance tips, ideas. You'll get the performance with background commentary from Joshua Ray, and then another video you will get the same thing with background commentary from Buck Bowen. So you're getting a ton of stuff. You'll get the super practice, a bunch of different angles, slow motion, and, you know, just everything that you could imagine in a tutorial plus more. Difficulty level. That's another thing I love about this, because it honestly couldn't be easier. Once you watch the tutorial, you will be outperforming this immediately. Like, this isn't one of those things. I'm not saying don't practice, but this isn't one of those things that you're going to need to practice for long, if at all. If you perform any kind of card magic, really, there's nothing that you need to learn. Now, this uses one card move, but even if you're not great at it, it's not something you have to worry about, since it only uses 3 cards. I don't want to expose the move, even though I'm sure in watching the tutorial, anybody who does card magic knows exactly what the move is, so you'll understand what I'm saying here. But even if you're not perfect at that move, the fact that there's only 3 cards, as long as you get a break under the bottom one, you're set up to do the move that you need to do. So you'll know what I mean if you do any card magic. And if you don't, well, I'm just saving exposure. But with that said, the most difficult part of the whole routine is not difficult at all. Angles. I would say that there are no angle issues here. You can perform this surrounded. The only part that some people might be worried about is the ladybug itself. But it's small, and whether you're performing this for kids or adults, just be mindful of who else is around. So if you are performing this for an adult and there's kids around, just have them hold their hands lower, right? The main thing is that their hands aren't above people that are shorter than where their hands are. So simple fix, right? Just bring their hands down, or perform this for the younger people and let the adults be spectators of the overall performance. Because ultimately, and Buck mentions it in the tutorial, everybody's going to get something out of this, but if there's kids around, do it for the kids, because they're going to love the experience and the adults are going to love watching them have that experience. So yeah, angles, honestly, I would not worry about it at all. Setup and reset. I would say that this is a instant reset. The order of the cards, it takes no time at all since there's only 3. There isn't really a setup there. The only thing that could take some time is the ladybugs themselves, and that's just because they need to stick on the hand, right? But there is a workaround, because in the performance tips, there is a section that shows, one of the solutions that a worker had who was going around performing this table to table or group to group, and they didn't want to kind of set up between every performance. So there's a way to have this so it's an instant reset for multiple performances. And it's a good one. It works, it's practical, and it's something that it takes no time at all. Very easy to do. There are no arts and crafts. This is all ready to use. Can it be examined? Yeah, I mean, at one point they're going to be holding one card and you're openly showing the other 2. And when they turn over their hand and they have the ladybug, I mean, that's theirs to keep, right? So everything happens in their hands. Pocket space, and is this a worker? 3 cards. Depends how many ladybugs you're carrying, but like I said, they're small. A ton of these are going to fit in your pocket, and you can also have them preset, and they're not going to take up any additional space. So the most space that you're looking at is basically this. Is it a worker? Yeah, this is something that is going to get great reactions. It happens in their hands or on their hand. It can be enjoyed by everyone around. It has meaning to it. It's meaningful. It has that emotional impact. It's something that they're going to remember because you made them feel something. So not only is the magic great, because, I think back to, I'm not just referencing the web here, but I don't know the name of it. I think that I've always heard it as voodoo ashes, right? So involves a cigarette. I used to put some ash on my palm, rub it in, and when the participant would have their closed fist, open it, and there'd be the ashes there, right? It's like that. You also have double cross, where it happens in their hand, the web, and then this, right? So the magic itself is really good, because in all variations of this kind of plot, I've always received extremely strong reactions, and people are blown away by this. So as far as being a worker, I think that no matter what you do, what kind of magic you perform, or what your style is, I think this is something that you could make fit your personality, and it's going to be strong. So I told you the price. Is it worth it? I think this is super cheap. I think it's a great trick. Everything included is about as good as it gets as far as quality goes. And then refills are almost nothing. $5 for 50, right? You can start off with 70 for $24, and that's the trick. The cards and the ladybugs. No brainer for me. Easily worth your money. I'm always hesitant with routines that involve refills, because a lot of the time you're spending quite a bit of money, maybe saving 20% of the overall purchase when you just buy refills, and you usually don't get that many. That's not always the case, but with a lot of things I found it is. Whereas with this, the refills cost next to nothing. So I'd say it's definitely worth the money. And finally, pros and cons. Pros, like I said, I've done variations of something along this plot for years, as far back as I can remember. When I started kind of performing close up for people other than my friends and family, I was doing the voodoo ashes, and people, that was always the one that people remembered. I run into people that I showed that to 20 years ago now, and they still remember it. And remember that time you had the ashes in my hand? Like, So that's a huge pro, is that this all happens in the hand, and then it's something that they're going to remember. It's going to be something that people around them remember, because it's something you made everybody feel. It's positive, right? It's easy, it's affordable, it's super high quality. I'm just kind of repeating everything, but I'm just trying to touch on a lot of the pros. Negatives, I can't give it a negative. Magic for me has always been about connecting and allowing people to feel something, no matter what's going on in their life. If they're going through hard times or just being overwhelmed or busy, the fast pace of life, like just allowing them to pause all of that for a moment and just enjoy something, right? So people love magic, and I think when you can integrate an emotional aspect or a positive aspect into your magic, it just makes it all the better. So I got nothing negative to say on this at all. One other thing I do need to mention is that if you order this directly from www.deucegala.com, there is a promo code, and it is CEDGLB. And what that will do is give you an additional 20 ladybugs for free and 5% off your purchase. So CEDGLB. And if you find that hard to remember with the letters, I'll leave a text box here in the bottom, but that's Chris Edwards, Deuce Gala, Ladybug. So anyway, use that code, get 20 additional ladybugs for free and 5% off. With that, I'll leave a link in the description so you can go directly to the website, purchase this. I'll also put the code in the description, and I think that kind of covers everything that I have on this. So with that, we'll see you at the next review.
Welcome.